These new details change everything we know about the St. Louis Blues as Alex Steen speaks out in a recent interview on the future of the St. Louis Blues. Key free agents speak out on the team, and there's multiple young prospects ready to make an impact for the Blues going into next season. We're going to break down all this and more, and you're not going to want to miss it. Before we get into it, if you're part of the 88.8% not subscribed yet and you're enjoying this daily NHL news and news on your St. Louis Blues, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch, and in return, we'll give you updates from all around the league. But Darius, we gotta hop straight into this today, where we did see Alex Steen spoke to the Last Minute Blues podcast today and just went in on a lot of details. Now, he did speak about him taking over as the GM in 2026. He said he spent more time on what do I need to get myself ready and prepare as I can be. And today it's the media interviews. I absorb it, and at the end of the day, I reflect on it. Now, we know Steen is going to make changes. He goes in just to talk about how good of a year they had this year, but they need to continue getting better, growing as a team, and changing things to get them into the position to win. Darius, what is your thoughts on Steen taking over? We know he's a St. Louis Blues legend, coming back with the team set to take over for Doug Armstrong. Could you see big changes coming to this Blues roster as he starts to slide in as the new general manager next season?
I can see a lot of big moves. And we talked about Jordan Kyrou in another video. And honestly, I think that Jordan Kyrou has the fan base split right in half and 50% right now because a lot of people would like to see him traded. A lot of people do not want to see him traded. But, despite that, I think there could be a lot of moves with the roster, that aren't Jordan Kyrou this summer. I mean, Steen came out today, and I have to say, like, I know they're probably in alignment right now because he's not technically the GM yet, but obviously he is working towards, becoming the GM, and there's no secret there. He is going to become the GM, but he does have his own vision and his own way for how he wants a team to play and to look like, right? So he is going to make some changes, and I think things are going to start happening as soon as this summer to get ready for when, he does take over as GM. So, in that being said, I think changes are coming. I think if you look at Jordan Kyrou, for example, we talked about him a couple of days ago. No movement clause kicks in. If you want to make a change there, you have to make a change soon. So, and in that quote, I thought it was very interesting because, again, he's saying, a lot of really good things here. Obviously, they had a great season. They made a couple moves like Cam Fowler, we're going to touch on as well, that, really changed the course of the season. Obviously, Jim Montgomery, but he's also saying in this quote, we weren't good enough, and I want to be good enough. I want to win the Stanley Cup is what he's saying basically as the GM of the St. Louis Blues. So can you do that with the current roster? Maybe if you let a couple of the players mature, because it's very hard to win with a young roster in this league. But I think it's almost impossible. But you got a good goaltender back there making big saves for you in big moments. But I think in terms of the front end, obviously the forward group, I wonder if there are some changes coming this summer or as soon as this summer, as obviously he gets ready to take over the GM.
And if you guys want to listen to the full interview, we're going to link this down in the description below. Go listen to it. It's an awesome listen. But we also need to hop into what's going to be happening as soon as this summer. We know Cam Fowler was dominant this year. I'm pretty sure he still leads all defensemen in points in the playoffs, and he hasn't even played in the second round yet. But we do know Cam Fowler came out and talked about his contract. He said, yeah, absolutely. Those decisions and those conversations will be something we go through over the summer with Doug and the whole group here. I want to love to be around as long as they like me here. And this is awesome to see. We've seen him come over from the Anaheim Ducks and take a huge turn in his career, putting up 40 points in 68 games. The stats since joining the Blues is insane. 10 points in 7 games. What is your thoughts on the Blues going out and just Cam Fowler saying, I want to be here for a very long time? Could you see them extending him to a long-term deal? We know the contract does end at the end of next season, but they can sign the extension to let that kick in.
Yeah, they can sign him as soon as this July 1st. And I think that they should. Maybe not this July 1st, see how maybe some of next season goes, and then you can make a decision. They have some time to play with here, which is a good thing. But I think, based on what we just saw, you should sign him. It's clearly a good fit. He's fitting into the system. Obviously, Jim Montgomery, trusts him, which is a good, they have a good relationship going there, which you need to have with all the players. Everybody needs to be in alignment if you want to find success in this league. So clearly there's something there. Again, he's putting up points. He's a great defensive partner for Colton Parayko, who probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon as well. So, I think you should lock him up. He's not, that old either. So he wants to win. You found something good here in obviously Cam Fowler, coming over from the Anaheim Ducks. He's playing top pairing minutes. And again, I think that in terms of like a long-term deal, maybe not, right? Or maybe you try to avoid that. But I think there is a world you can lock him up for, a decent price for what he's worth right now and for not that long. So he doesn't have to end up on like Robert Island or something like that at the end of his career. But I do think you look to re-sign him because he's been great. It's just been a good fit. And again, they have time to play with here, right? Obviously, if you sign him right now, you're signing him, high. So let's see how some of the season plays out. That's kind of how I would attack it because they have some time to play here. And if they want to go in a different direction for whatever reason, because they've played great, he's played great with them, then they can. But they definitely should re-sign him.
And listen, with the cap hit right now, we know it's not the full 6.5. I believe it's down to either 4 or 4.1 for next season as well. Cam Fowler is going to be a big part of this team, and he already has been. But I kind of want to go into this, Darius, and kind of throw it to you. We know this team is stacked. They have a lot of great young players coming up through the lineup. The defense seems solidified going into next year. I know a lot of fans want to move on from Nick Leddy and Justin Falk, and you could open up so much more contracts with that as well. But looking at the forward group, Snuggerud is a guy that's going to make an impact very soon. We've seen him put up 4 points in the playoffs this year. He came straight out of the NCAA and absolutely dominated for this team. He's going to need a spot in the top 6. I don't even think that's up for debate at the moment, but looking at the roster, is there any more young guys that you could see bump up and maybe lead to Doug Armstrong wanting to move on from a bigger contract in the top 6?
I think Dvorsky is knocking on the door of maybe a middle 6 role next year, maybe like a third line role, something like that. Because like we've talked about in previous videos, you look at his point production, he ripped it up in the OHL, but that's junior hockey. You never know how that's going to translate to the pro level, but it has so far. He's been putting up some good numbers in the AHL. So I think that, through this, him being in the AHL, going through the development, all of that, he's going to be a good NHLer. So maybe he's knocking on the door. So then you can trade somebody out to free out some salary cap space because this guy plays well in the playoffs as well. I've seen him play in the OHL playoffs too. This is a guy you can win with. And like I said, it's hard to win with a young team, but that doesn't mean you can't have young pieces. Snuggerud is going to be an impact player as soon as next year, right? The things he was doing in the playoffs, I mean, he looked like an experienced player. So he's going to be great. Maybe Dvorsky comes in on the third line there. He can make a bit of an impact as well. The team is going to look a little bit different next year, I think, because you're going to have to start moving some money out. And the salary cap, yes, it is going up, but keep in mind, you're going to have to pay some of these young guys as well. And obviously, you're going to have a lot of money locked in. Jordan Kyrou, if you don't make a decision by July 1st, he's staying on that contract, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what the team looks like. I think the core group of players will probably be back next year, but it is going to look a little bit different. But they have some great pieces that I don't think they should move off of yet. And again, some younger talent that is, chomping at the bit to come up.
And looking at Dvorsky on his own, we see him is joining his home country as well for Slovakia in the World Championship. If you want to check out his game even more, go check that out. We've seen right at the bottom as well, Doug Armstrong saying, now I'm hoping that he comes in, has a great camp, and he makes our decision hard. NHL teams fail players as much as players fail NHL teams, and we're not going to fail him by putting him in a situation he cannot have success. This is an awesome quote. Seeing just all the young talent come up through this Blues roster. Blues fans, go down in the comments. Who is your favorite prospect not in? Is it Dvorsky? Is it someone ready to join or someone that they just drafted? Go down and let us know in the comments. Why down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back for another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.